Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Marketing Can podcast, your one-stop destination to explore the latest happenings, strategies, tools, techniques, and case studies in the digital marketing domain. I'm your host Prince Kumar, and our guest for today is Jackie Bebenroth. Jackie is changemaker who draws from two-decade experience as a brand strategist and entrepreneur to help visionary leaders achieve transformation inside their business and beyond. She has developed a communication methodology called the Change Marketing Framework, proven to connect, convert, and cultivate audience for sustained impact and business growth. Hi, Jackie. Excited to have you on our show.
Hi, Prince. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So, Jackie, to start our conversation with, can you help the audience know a bit more about yourself, about your corporate journey?
Certainly. So I've been in marketing for 26 years now, which is a very long time.
Long
But I grew up on the agency side. So I've grown through the corporate ladder. I've started as a copywriter when I was younger. And then I
Okay.
grew up into a creative director. And then about halfway through my career, I switched over to the strategy and account side. And from there, I started my own business about 11 years ago. So since then, we've been really specializing in branding, brand positioning, and content marketing.
Perfect. So, your specialization is generally into the content marketing, and branding, is what you have. Great.
Yeah, absolutely. So being growing up as a copywriter, I have a passion for storytelling, and I've sort of built a skill set and now a team around very effective ways to message to your audiences, and in particular, messaging to audiences who are interested in transformation. So that's where we specialize today.
Amazing. Amazing. And can you also let us know a bit about your organization since you mentioned that you have been around, 11 years, I guess you mentioned that. So if you can let us know about your organization also a bit.
So my agency is called Muse, and um, you know, we started really as a way for brands to we conducted content overflow, basically. So if you were a brand and you had a social media feed that you needed to fill, you had a blog that you needed written, we would really be that place for content development primarily. And so for
Okay.
the first few years of Muse, we really specialized in quality content development. And what I started to see in the market, and I'm sure you feel this too, is there's a saturation of writers. And so there was, Fiverr and many of these freelance sites that are available today, we started to have to compete with freelancers that were readily available and accessible on the market. And so that really kind of threw us because we were trying to, help clients understand the value in using an agency, but we were coming in at 2 to 3 times more than a freelancer. So that was a very hard conversation to have. And now we're
Okay.
finding it again in some of these AI tools, Jasper and, Chat, GPT, and all of these things. And so about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we really decided to elevate out of content development and really focus on content strategy, helping clients make the best decisions, most informed decisions about what topics and stories to tell. And then they can either choose to use us for content development if they want to keep that under one roof, or they have the option to go to freelancers and have that produced outside of our agency. So that's been working out really well. And since then, we've been on a growth trajectory of 20% year over year. And I'm
Amazing.
proud to say that we're really, our clients we have longevity with our clients, and they're really achieving some really strong results.
Amazing. That is the awesome thing that you have mentioned.
Yeah.
So now coming to the change marketing framework, which we have been talking about, and we want to understand from you that what actually this the framework that you have developed.
Okay, so this is a really interesting pivot, and I would encourage all businesses, small to large, to really take a closer look every year on how they can position to be more targeted. And at the beginning stages of our business, we were really like accepting all work, from all different industries. We were taking digital marketing work, we were taking content work, we were building websites. And, we had to for cash flow purposes. But as the business becomes more mature, we've become more selective with who we're working with. And we have that option because we have built-in retainers with our clients. And so we sort of have a pretty much a guarantee for at least the next year, 18 months, some revenue coming in. So now I can say we're not going to sell apples if the client wants apples and we sell pineapples. You know what I mean? So our positioning now is really geared toward wellness and
Okay.
nutrition and learning related clients who are committed to helping people live their best lives.
Okay.
And so I'll take a vertical that we specialize in, for example, functional medicine. So this is a group of doctors who believe in helping people, guide them in lifestyle changes versus taking a pill for a symptom. They believe that changing your diet, doing all of these wellness related activities will result in solving your health issues versus just, covering up the symptom. So what that means is these doctors have an additional challenge of not just convincing someone to come to their practice and choose their practice over other practices. They also have to convince someone to make changes over the course of time and stick with that program.
Program, definitely.
And so that's an additional change after the point of conversion, where you still have to do marketing to your patient base or your customer base to help them make a change and a transformation over time. And so this has led us to really develop a new methodology called Change. It's a change marketing framework that is based on scientific behavioral change principles. And we look at that through the lens of communication. So we can help our clients not only convert new customers and patients, but also keep them for longer and increase the lifetime value and ultimately
Okay.
the impact on that person. So it's
Amazing.
a very different way to think about marketing, because most marketers just say, we're going to get you traffic to your site, we're going to convert that traffic, and our job is done here. And what we're saying is there's actually a lot of opportunity for you to gain revenue through those patients over time and those customers over time. And this is a communication methodology for you to do that.
Amazing. So it's a kind of retaining or a kind of retaining the customer. It's not at the first interaction also, but then looking after them at for a kind of longer run that you are planning for.
Yeah, it takes into consideration everything from awareness all the way through retention
Retention.
and ultimately like advocacy to help, gain great testimonials and things like that. So I think more marketers should be really thinking about what happens beyond that conversion point, and then helping their customers, their client base, use content and communication tools to help reactivate customers, to help upsell, cross-sell customers. And I don't see a lot of agencies doing that these days. So we're really excited to kind of provide additional value in that
Additional
way.
value. Definitely. Definitely. So, how to differentiate changing minds and changing mindsets?
Yeah, so when we start working with a new client, we often think of the client, the brand, in two different categories. You're either a transactional brand or you're a transformational brand. And if you're a transactional brand, that's fine. We're not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there's certain methods in communication and marketing that you need to do to help change someone's mind. So I'll give you an example. Paper towels. So you're walking through your grocery store, your market, and you need paper towels for your house. So there's multiple brands of paper towels. What is happening at that point of sale to help you change your mind from one brand of paper towels to the next brand of paper towels? And packaging has a heavy lift on that. Merchandising has a heavy lift. So that is one method of marketing that is completely different than a transformational brand where you don't just have to change someone's mind about choosing your brand. You have to change their mindset about how they engage with your products and services. So these are things like we work with a probiotic company. The
Okay.
probiotic company is positioned as an acute GI probiotic, meaning if you have very severe stomach issues, you're going to want to take this probiotic. But what they're doing is ultimately coming up with another like adaptation of their product to be a daily product, therefore changing your mindset around only using the product when you're having symptoms versus using it every day to prevent
Okay.
symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's a mindset shift. That communication, you need communication to help educate people around why they need to change their
The
mindset, not
mindset.
just change their mind. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So now we would also want to know more about the five-stage model for content planning that can be designed to increase the conversion and also the customer lifetime value, which is very important.
Yes. So I think this will be really intriguing for your listeners being experts in digital marketing. So we look at the buyer's journey very differently when we're talking about marketing transformational brands. And so we've leaned on this method that came out of the 70s called the trans theoretical model of change.
Okay.
And this model is like really about changing a mindset. And basically, you have your buyer's journey in terms of awareness, education, consideration, conversion. Like those are your typical steps. The change stage framework is based in the theory that people don't make change until they intend to make change.
Okay.
So, what I'm saying is that the awareness component of your buyer's journey may not be as applicable in a wellness scenario until someone is experiencing a trigger event. And so we've seen this show up in like running paid social ads for wellness clients.
Okay.
So they're just doing a blanket awareness campaign on social, and they're finding that they're not getting that many click-throughs
Leads.
and
Yeah.
results. And the reason is because people aren't necessarily interested in what they have to offer until they're experiencing a symptom or have an intention to
Intention.
make that change. So, what we recommend to our clients is skip over that awareness. Don't spend that money necessarily. Put more money in, say, Google ads where people are showing intention based on what they're searching for. So, I have a stomach issue. I'm searching for natural remedies for my stomach issue. That should now I should show up, and then that intention takes us into consideration.
Consideration.
So, the five stages of our buyer's journey are the unawareness stage, where we recommend you don't really spend much money. The interested stage, where someone is actively searching for a solution to their problem. The intentional stage, where they're now researching your website against other websites to identify if you have the right solution for them.
Okay.
Finally, they take action, and that's in your conversion, where they actually fill out the form, or they take the webinar, or they buy the product, or whatever that might be. And then this last stage is what I was speaking of earlier. It's called the enduring stage, where you have to continually market to them to take your product or service more often or for a longer period of time. So it's a very interesting way and lens for us to look at wellness related activities that is based on a traditional buyer's journey, but it has more of a spin
More
on
of
change and wellness for sure.
okay, and definitely the things that you had mentioned, the each and every step that definitely that will be impacting into having a better conversion compared to the traditional thing that we generally do upon.
Mm-hmm.
So, according to you, what are the different scientific data associated with the behavior change that can be used in the messaging and the tactical planning?
Sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, like because we understand this um, this method that was born out of this study in the 70s, this trans theoretical model of change, these scientists actually they studied hundreds of people that were quitting smoking, and they identified what drives success. And their main takeaway from that was you don't quit smoking unless you intend to quit smoking, which is super common sense. But when you think about that from a marketing perspective, if I'm going to market a quit smoking product, I'm not necessarily going to spend my money trying to
Money.
convince smokers to quit. That's not my
Definitely.
job as a marketer, right? My job is to find the smokers who are ready to quit
Good.
through their search behavior and maybe some other, like sites that they might be following, and then hit them there and then potentially retarget them because I know they're thinking about it. Now I just need to spend my marketing dollars getting in front of them as often as possible, understanding they're in that intentional mindset. So to
Okay.
me, that's the biggest takeaway from the research and behavioral change. If you are selling sort of the idea that you're going to transform someone, you're going to elevate their quality of life, you're going to help them quit something and take on a new habit, you really need to think about how to find them when they're in an intention mindset, not try to waste your marketing dollars on trying to convince them to do so.
Definitely. When we will be having intention, then definitely there will be a good chance of conversions also.
Yep.
Okay. So, what can be some of the prominent metrics for understanding success at each stage?
So the metrics are, what guides us all, right?
Mm-hmm.
As digital marketers. So um, when we first start, say we're running a Google ad campaign
Okay.
for our clients, and these campaigns are based on trigger events like I have a backache, I have a stomach ache, whatever. Our first set of metrics is around traffic and click through. So we're driving higher levels of traffic to the site.
Okay.
I also talk about search related metrics, so passive search related metrics, when they're moving into the interested stage. That's stage 2 of the change stage framework. The intentional stage, we're looking at their behavior on site. Where are they moving throughout the site? And do they move from like homepage to more information to contact? Like, how are they? What is their time on site? What is their bounce rate? Where are they bouncing? So we're really looking at behavioral related metrics around a website.
Okay.
Um, we're also looking at, and this is a big one for me. I don't put a lot of weight in fans and followers for social media.
Okay.
And the reason for that is unless you're an influencer, which is a totally different circumstance, it's rented land. So as we all know, the way that those landlords, Facebook, Twitter especially, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, the way that those companies um, show their content changes all the time. We don't have control over that, and we do not own those fans and followers. So
Definitely.
we put a lot more like weight in gaining newsletter followers and building our database because we can own that, we control it, and we can determine our frequency of communication. We can also segment it, for being really smart about it. So that would be another metric in the intentional stage. Are you moving through our content? Are you signing up for our newsletter? Might you be following us on social media? Fine.
Yeah.
If you are, great. And then certainly in the actionable stage, that's where we determine ROI. So we connect the output of the Google ad or the campaigns that we're running into conversion metrics. How many folks, depending on if it's a lead gen campaign or an e-commerce campaign, which we don't necessarily do anymore, how many of those folks are turning into leads? How many of those folks are turning into actual patients or customers? And then, one of the reasons we have long-term relationships with our clients is because we like to measure customer lifetime value. And at the end of the year, say we're measuring this annually, year over year, are we effectively increasing the value of that customer for our clients through content? And so that can be a tricky measurement, especially if the client doesn't necessarily have good metrics around their customer lifetime value. But it's an important one because it's much more inexpensive in almost all cases to grow your current customer base than it is to gain new prospects, new customers. Yeah.
Perfectly. Okay, I guess you have given a lot of advice today, and how this marketing framework generally work upon. Can you also help us, or you can also suggest the best tips on how we can help our client overcome this fear of change that they generally have?
Oh, I love this question, Prince. And it's something that we think a lot about as specialists in change marketing. I think the fear of change is ultimately rooted in two things. Number one, it's like the fear of the unknown. I don't know.
No.
Like how can you guarantee that I'm going to achieve these results? So it's like it's the fear of the darkness of the unknown.
That we are
The
not
other
aware of.
fear is the fear of the letting go. So what am I letting go of? So it's a fear of sort of this historic letting go in the future, right? And in this moment, we need to convince someone to make that change. One of the interesting studies I've come across in our work in specializing in change, specifically in sales, is that executives are more likely to make a change based on the fear of the status quo, not the promise of a positive outcome. So what that means as salespeople is, I'm here telling you, Prince, you need to make these changes with your content marketing strategy. I expect you to spend, $100,000 on this year. And in return, you're going to achieve this ROI and you're going to have this happen and all of these rainbows and roses, these wonderful things are going to happen if you spend this money. So that's one sales technique that is selling to the future state. And what this study said is executives actually make decisions based on what is problematic for them now. What is the risk of staying the same? So that sales conversation is different because it goes something like this. Prince, listen, you've been doing the same marketing strategy for the last 3 years, and you've only achieved 2% growth. Like, you've got to do something. And if you don't do this, what is the alternative? So do you see how that's different? The difference is in like, okay, let's look at your current present and poke holes and risks in that. Not fear mongering, but really just talking about the reality of staying the same versus making the change. That's how you're going to get more traction in the conversation because people are like, oh, wow, I don't know. You're right about that. Yeah. And that's something they can base in their own reality versus something based in somebody else's idea of what their future should be.
Definitely, got it, got it. If somewhere if that is being personalized into it, and if you are working into that way, then definitely that will help in enhancing also.
Yeah.
So, any last piece of advice that you would like to give to the businesses on transforming their business through this framework?
I think the only piece of advice I would say, especially for marketing audiences, is don't stop at conversion. Like, think about not just the conversion that you're bringing your clients, but the quality. So we look at quality just as much as we look at quantity. It doesn't matter if you're bringing, thousands of leads to your customers through your digital marketing if those leads are not
Not
quality
converting.
leads. Yeah. And then you'll know that they're quality when they convert and then they have a long-term relationship with your customer. So like really look at that conversion point in a different way. Um, Quality over quantity, and then look at the nature of the lead and the customer through the lens of customer lifetime value.
Amazing, amazing. You have given a lot of advices today. So, with this, we have come to the end of today's episode. It was pleasure having you, Jackie, with us and get a lot of insight about this amazing framework that is the change marketing framework that you have elaborated and how this helps in a kind of gaining a kind of good amount of audience, good amount of leads, and also not only leads, it's about the quality of the leads, how we can work upon, and also retain the customers for a longer run. So thank you so much, and I look forward to host you again on our show.
Thanks so much, Prince. Have a great day.
Great. Thank you.